The story of the great Cristiano Ronaldo begins not in crowded stadiums, or under the bright lights of fame, but on the narrow, steep streets of the small island of Madeira, lost in the vast waters of the Atlantic Ocean. This is the story of a boy who had nothing but an old ball and a giant dream that seemed like nothing more than a childhood fantasy to everyone around him. In the small town of Funchal, in the poor neighborhood of Santo Antonio, on the 5th of February, 1985, the fourth child was born to Maria Dolores and Josdini Zavero. He was named Cristiano Ronaldo in honor of the American President Ronald Reagan, whom his father greatly admired. The family's life was difficult. Their home was cramped and drafty, and food was often barely enough for everyone. But it was in this poverty that the character was forged, which would later make the entire world bow its head. Little Cristiano grew up in an atmosphere where every day was a struggle for survival. His father worked as a gardener and part-time as an equipment manager at the local football club, Andernha, while his mother worked as a cook and a cleaner. From an early age, football became the boy's only way to escape the harsh reality. He would disappear on the street from morning until late at night, chasing the ball on asphalt and uneven stones. He didn't have expensive sneakers or a uniform. Often, he played in old shoes that tore quickly. But that didn't stop him. His first nickname was Little B because he raced across the field without knowing fatigue, and he was impossible to catch. However, there was another nickname that followed him for a long time: Crybaby. Cristiano cried every time his team lost or when his teammates didn't pass him the ball. His passion for winning was so hypertrophied that he took any defeat as a personal tragedy. This was not a weakness, but an incredible fire inside that demanded perfection. At the age of 7, he began playing for the Andernha youth team. His father was the kit man there. He washed the uniforms and prepared the field. Little Ronaldo saw how hard his father worked, and it gave him the incentive to prove that he was worthy of something better. Even then, coaches noticed that this thin boy possessed extraordinary technique, but no one could have imagined that they were looking at a future 5-time Ballon d'Or winner. His talent was obvious, but it was his hard work that set him apart from the rest. When other children went home to rest, Cristiano stayed and continued to shoot at the goal until the sun disappeared behind the horizon. Soon, people all over the island were talking about the talented boy. He was noticed by representatives of a larger club, Nacional. The transition to the new team was his first serious test. The competition there was higher, and the requirements were tougher. Ronaldo was only waiting for this. He quickly became the leader of the team, leading his peers. However, Madeira was too small for his ambitions. The ocean surrounding the island seemed to hold back his potential, and so, when he turned 12, fate gave him a chance that changed everything. He was invited for a trial in Lisbon, at the Academy of Sporting, one of the greatest clubs in Portugal. This decision was the most difficult in his mother's life. To let a 12-year-old child go alone to the capital, to a big city where he had no one, seemed like madness. But Maria Dolores believed in her son. She knew that football was his only path. The first months in Lisbon were a living hell. Cristiano was terribly homesick. He called his mother every day and cried into the phone, begging her to take him back. Other boys at the academy teased him for his specific Madeiran accent, which was considered rural in Lisbon. He felt like a stranger, lonely and misunderstood. But every time he stepped onto the field, he turned his pain into rage and energy. He decided that he would become the best, so that no one would ever dare laugh at him again. It was at Sporting that the fanatical approach to training, which became his trademark, was born. They said that at night, he would sneak into the gym when everyone was sleeping to lift weights. The coaches would catch him and kick him out, saying that at such an age such loads were harmful. But he would return again. He tied weights to his feet and practiced dribbling, believing that if he learned to run fast with a load, he would become elusive without it. At the age of 15, his career almost ended before it even began. Cristiano was diagnosed with a heart problem, tachycardia. His heart beat too fast even at rest, and doctors feared that professional sports could kill him. It was a shock to the whole family. The boy required urgent surgery. His heart was operated on with a laser. Unfortunately, everything went well. Surprisingly, just a few days after his discharge, he was back at training. It was an incredible will to live and to achieve his goal. He was not afraid of pain, he was afraid of only one thing: losing the opportunity to play football. Ronaldo progressed rapidly. He became the first player in the history of sporting to play for the under-16, 17, 18, reserve, and first teams all in a single season. His debut for the main team was brilliant. He scored 2 goals. And it became clear that a world-class star was growing in Portugal. The real turning point happened in August 2003. Sporting hosted Manchester United in a friendly match for the opening of their new stadium, the José Alvalade. That evening, 18-year-old Cristiano literally destroyed the British defence. His feints, speed, and confidence were so striking that the United defenders, including the experienced Rio Ferdinand and Gary Neville, begged manager Sir Alex Ferguson to sign this kid after the game. Ferguson, who had a phenomenal instinct for talent, did not hesitate. Negotiations began right in the locker room, and a few days later, Ronaldo was flying to Manchester. Moving to England was the beginning of a new era. He was given the number 7, a number that legends had worn before him: George Best, Eric Cantona, and David Beckham. It was huge pressure, but Ronaldo accepted the challenge. Sir Alex Ferguson became a second father to him, the mentor who directed his wild energy in the right direction. In Manchester, Cristiano transformed from just a talented dribbler into a perfect athlete. He completely changed his diet, sleep schedule, and training. He was the first to arrive at the training ground and the last to leave. He practiced free kicks 4 hours, bringing the ball's flight path to perfection. His progress was visible in every season. At first, it was just flashy tricks, but every year he became a more effective player, focused on the result. In 2008, he reached the top with Manchester United, winning the Champions League and receiving his first Ballon d'Or. However, his dream called him further. He had always wanted to play for Real Madrid, the most successful club in the world. His transfer in 2009 became the most expensive transfer in football history. At that time, 80,000 people came to his presentation at the Santiago Bernabeu, just to see him juggle the ball. In Madrid, he became a goal-scoring machine. Year after year, he broke records that seemed eternal. His rivalry with Lionel Messi raised the bar of football to an unattainable height. They forced each other to become better. And this period in the history of football will forever remain the era of 2 kings. The secret of Ronaldo's success has never been just natural talent. His story is a hymn to discipline. He always said that talent without work is worth nothing. Even after becoming a multimillionaire and the most recognizable person on the planet, he has not lost the hunger he felt on the streets of Madeira. His diet is a strict calculation of proteins and carbohydrates. His sleep is divided into phases for better recovery. And there is always an ice bath and a gym in his house. He subordinated his life to one goal: to be the best in everything. Many criticized him for arrogance, but those who knew him closely saw only a person who is infinitely demanding, primarily of himself. Cristiano also never forgot his roots. He invests huge amounts of money in the development of his home island, building schools and hospitals there. His generosity often remains behind the scenes, but hundreds of people owe their lives to him thanks to his donations to charity. He remembers what it's like not to be able to buy new boots, and therefore tries to help those who find themselves in the same situation. His journey from a little crybaby from Madeira to a world sports legend is proof that boundaries exist only in our heads. He showed that it doesn't matter where you were born, or how much money your parents have. It only matters how much you are willing to give for your goal. His success with the Portuguese national team became a separate chapter. Winning the European Championship in 2016 was his ultimate dream. When he was injured in the final and sat on the grass with tears in his eyes, the whole world empathized with him. But even off the field, he continued to lead the team from the technical area, jumping and shouting louder than the coach. It was a moment of absolute triumph of the spirit. He proved that a leader remains a leader even if he cannot run. Today, Cristiano Ronaldo is not just a football player, he is a brand, a symbol of success and indomitable will. His story continues to inspire millions of children around the world. Every time a little boy in a poor village takes to the field wearing a number 7 shirt, he knows that anything is possible. Ronaldo's path teaches us that success is not a destination, but a constant process of self-improvement. It is the ability to get up after every fall and move forward when no one believes in you. This is a story about how a dream can change reality if there is a steel character and a kind heart behind it. Ronaldo showed that you can conquer the whole world while keeping the same boy from Madeira inside you, who just loved football more than anything else in the world. And even years from now, when he retires, his name will sound like a synonym for greatness achieved through incredible labor and endless self-belief. His entire path is a long road from poverty to the top of Olympus, a road paved with sweat, tears, and triumphs that are forever inscribed in human history. He remains an example that true greatness is measured not only by trophies, but by the influence you have on the world, making people believe in the impossible. And in every movement of his on the field, in every goal scored and in every victory cry, the echo of those very streets of Funchal where it all began can be heard. This is the story of a boy who became a king, not because he was lucky, but because he refused to be anything less. His life is a lesson for each of us. Never give up, work harder than the rest, and then the whole world will know your name. On the way to success, Cristiano overcame the death of his father, serious injuries, and colossal public pressure. But nothing could break his spirit. His dedication to his life's work has become a benchmark of professionalism. He proved that age is just a number if you treat your body like a temple. His legacy will live forever, reminding future generations that greatness is born in struggle and legends are created from work and faith in one's own dream. Every step Cristiano took was deliberate and directed toward one goal: to become the greatest in history. And today, looking back at his path, we see not just an athlete, but a man who rewrote the rules of the game and showed that human capabilities are truly limitless. If you have the courage to follow your star to the very end, this is an endless story of struggle and victory that will be retold again and again, inspiring hearts and lighting new stars in the football sky. Ronaldo is the living embodiment of the triumph of human will over circumstances, and his name will forever remain in people's memory as a symbol that any height can be achieved if a real fire lives in your heart.